Penny Launcher Part 2. You just made your prediction about if we increase the penny stack from 1 penny to 3 pennies, increasing the mass, how much force is going to be needed to move the pennies. So you just made your prediction. Now we're going to see if your prediction was correct. So for part 2, we have our game board set up the same way we did yesterday, where we have our graph paper on a clipboard, we have a rubber band, and we have our binder clip attached to the rubber band. Now in yesterday's, we pulled back with increasing force for each trial. We're not doing that this time. We're increasing the mass. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to pull back to the same distance each time, and we're going to pull back 2 centimeters each time. The thing that's going to change is the mass of the pennies. And we're going to talk about this soon, but that is our independent variable. That's the thing I'm changing. I am changing the mass of the pennies. So we're going to start off with 1 penny. We're going to put it on our starting line. And then for test 1, I'm going to record the distances in purple. For test 2, we're going to record those in blue. And for test 3, we're going to record those in red. So what I am going to do is I'm going to move this down just a little bit so that we have room for all 3 of our tests. Okay? So as we increase the mass of the pennies, what happens to the distance traveled? So I'm going to pull back to 2 centimeters. That's going to be our starting force. And we're going to keep that same force through the whole test. So here goes trial 1 of test 1. Woo, that went pretty far. So we're going to mark where that penny went, and that is trial 1. Now we're going to do it a second time. We're going to pull that back 2 centimeters, and we're going to launch our penny. Almost exactly the same. So there's 2. And here comes trial 3 for test 1. And then we'll get our measurements. Wow, very precise. So it looks like 3 and 1 were the exact same distance. So let's count how many centimeters that traveled. So I'm doing this on my kitchen stove, which is kind of awkward. But so our penny is approximately 2 centimeters. So we're going to see how far it traveled. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it looks like about 9.5 centimeters for trial 1 and 2 and 3. And then it traveled 10 centimeters for trial 3. So on your data table, for trial 1 in test 1, 9.5 centimeters, trial 2, 10 centimeters, and trial 3 was 9.5 centimeters. Now we're going to do test 2. So I'll move my penny down just a little bit so we don't crash into those numbers. But this time, we're not going to use 1 single penny. We're going to increase the mass. So I took 2 pennies and I glued them together. So we're going to use the same amount of force, 2 centimeter pull, and here's where we're going to see if your prediction was correct. Is the penny going to, or the penny stack of 2 going to travel as far as just 1? So what happens when we increase the mass? So here we go, test 2, trial 1. Okay, so there's 1. Now let's do trial 2, get it back to the starting line. There's trial 2. We'll do our last one with 2 pennies and then we'll measure. Here comes trial 3. Ooh, that one went a little bit farther. Right about there. Okay. So again, our penny is 2 centimeters. So how far did it travel? 1, 2, 3, 4. It got just a little bit past 4, but not quite. So we'll call trial 1 4 centimeters. Trial 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit past. So we'll call that 5.5 centimeters. This one was 4. And then trial 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7.5, so about 7.5 centimeters. So test 2, trial 1, 4 centimeters. Trial 2, 5.5. And trial 3, what did I write? 7.5. So go ahead and record that in the data table. So you should be noticing a pattern developing. Here's our distance with 1 penny. We increased the mass. Here's our distance with 2 pennies. What do you think's going to happen with 3? So I took 3 pennies and I glued them together. We're going to move it down here so we get out of the way of those measurements. And we are going to do test 3, trial 1 with 3 pennies glued together. So here we go. Test 3, trial 1. Ooh. Let me get my red. So there's 1. Here comes test 3, trial 2. Wow, almost the same. Oh, I just knocked my glue stick over. And here we go for trial 3. Look at that. How precise. So trial 3 is about right there. So let's get our measurements. So for trial 1 and 2, it traveled 1, 2, about 2 centimeters for trial 1 and 2. And for trial 3, that was about 2.5 centimeters. So we have 2 centimeters and we have 2.5 centimeters. So again, test 3, trial 1 and 2, 2 centimeters, and trial 3, 2.5 centimeters. So test 1, 1 penny. Test 2, 2 pennies. Test 3, 3 pennies. 1 mass, doubling the mass, tripling the mass.